games. It's ScrubGames. Double up. Drop a like, drop a sub, go ahead and subscribe to ScrubGames. Drop a like, drop a sub, go ahead and subscribe to ScrubGames.
How's it going, Scrub Gamers? Welcome back to another video here at ScrubGames, and today we have a new kind of video going over some good pickups from a certain set, and for that set today it is Intro Battle Hoth. Now, Intro Battle Hoth is an introductory set, introductory product to help any new players or people interested in getting into Star Wars Unlimited, an easy way to kind of get in and understand the game, be able to play a game straight from the get-go. Focus on just the cards in the set, just being easier and quick games because the bases are only 20 health in them, and they're able to basically just give you some quick games just to understand the game and see get you first start into it. But sometimes with sets like this, there are some good pickups even for competitive play, and I'm here to go over the very few cards in this set that are a good pickup to have for competitive play. So before we get into it and kind of see what those cards are, feel free to like, comment and subscribe to keep updated with my video as and when they drop. And also by clicking that notification bell, you can then get alerts to my videos do drop, so you can watch them there and then or at a later time that suits you best. So with that out of the way, and also one thing to say is we're very, very close to our 2,000 subs goal. Currently as a recording, just one away, so if you can help out, that'd be great. And if you already are helping out, fantastic, thank you very much. So let's get into it and see what pickups we've got for Intro Battle Hoth. So the first one we're going to go over is Admiral Ozzel. Now this is a character who has had a card all the way back in set 1. It wasn't very great, did see a little bit of play but then dropped off very quickly. But he's got a new card of him in this set. So Admiral Ozzel is a free cost unit from the new Intro Battle Hoth. It's got 3 power and 1 health, a nice little when defeated of each opponent discards a card from their hand, and also the Imperial and Official traits. So you might be looking at it thinking it's alright card, it's pretty nice. When defeated, make your opponent discard a card, that's cool. And it's got easy enough stats to make it happen. So we've got 3 power, so it's kind of threatening some good damage when it swings. And it's got very low health at 1, means it's very easy to defeat, so that way it can get his when defeated. But yeah, a unit you can play as early as turn 2 that just when defeated makes your opponent discard a card. Doesn't sound amazing, but you partner that with the Grand Admiral Thrawn leader from set 4, the light speed, then you're going to get very good effects of him, because the nice thing about Admiral Thrawn is he's a very cool leader because he's got the ability to trigger any when defeated effect that triggers again a second time. So whenever you use a when defeated effect, you can use that ability again with Admiral Thrawn. You can use it on both. It's the same effect on both sides when he's in the lead area and when he's deployed. And it's just a nice way to double trigger. Like we've got something like Night Sister Warrior from Legend of the Force, which when defeated draws you a card. So with Admiral Thrawn, that's basically drawing 2 cards when defeated, which is very nice, getting more and more draw. And Admiral Ozzel is one that is great to trigger. Now we've got cards that do discard 2, like we've got Pillage all the way back from set 2, Shadows of the Galaxy. That was a 4-cost event that chooses a player and they discard 2 cards from hand. So this is essentially the same kind of thing, but it costs 1 cheaper, being a 3 cost around 4 cost. And with Thrawn, it does the same thing, make your opponent discard 2 cards, but it also does damage. So you can throw it out and maybe defeat or damage a unit or your opponent's base, then have it defeated, and then make him discard 1 card, then trigger Thrawn and make him discard a 2nd card. So essentially, this card becomes a Pillage with a body that you can play in Admiral Thrawn, also a turn earlier, and you can even pair it with things like Dr. Pershing, where you can let Dr. Pershing on turn 1, then turn 2 play Admiral Ozzel, then use Pershing in your next action to deal 1 damage to Ozzel, to then draw your card, and then trigger Ozzel, make your opponent discard a card, then use Thrawn trigger again. So essentially, with that kind of combo, turn 2 you've made your opponent discard 2 cards, and you've drawn a card. So you've drawn 1, they've discarded 2. Now that seems pretty cool, and why it's a great pickup if you are a Grand Admiral Thrawn player, because being able to make your opponent discard 2 cards with also playing out a unit, maybe you get a draw with pushing damage, is fantastic. So that's my first pickup from Battle of Hoth. So the next one we have is the Hoth Lieutenant. Now this is a nice little unit. It's a 4 cost 3/4, so not the best stats for its cost. but it is once again another card that is an aggression villainy, so another card the same. And it's Imperial Trooper as well, so it's another Imperial card, but it has one of those typical kind of battle trick effects we've seen before, where it's got a when played, you may attack with another unit, it gets 2+ power for that attack, and then you can only attack with a ready friendly unit. So it's basically got a little bit explainer text. Is an intro battle set card, so it's going to have that kind of beginner's text that makes sure you understand you catch the attack with a rested unit. But this is one of those kind of effects where we've had before. We've had like things like, for example, here Fleet Lieutenant and Maz Kanata, which are units that can come down when played, allow you to attack with a unit, and then if it's a certain trait, then give an extra power for that attack. And the difference between this and those ones is things, well, it's a little bit more expensive at 4 resources, whereas mostly other ones are like maybe 2 or 3 cost. This maybe costs a little bit more, and maybe not have the best stats, especially once it's got the same stats as Maz Kanata, but then it costs 1 more. It's a very nice one, and that is basically very, very generic. Because with Fleet Lieutenant, his effect is you can attack with a unit, but only if it's a rebel unit where you get the +2 power for that attack. So you can attack with Fleet Lieutenant, you can attack with anything, but you only get the attack buff for that attack if it's a rebel unit you're attacking with. Same thing goes with Maz Kanata, well, in a different sense, whereas Maz Kanata, when played, it allows you to attack only with a force unit. So if you can attack with a force unit, no other trait, it has to be a unit with the force trait. And then for that attack, it gets 2+ power. So worded a little bit differently, but the same thing where they allow certain units to attack with a buff. Where a Fleet Lieutenant can force you to attack with anything, but only a certain trait gets a buff. Whereas Maz Kanata allows you to attack with a certain trait, and then he gets a buff for that attack. Whereas Hoth Lieutenant allows you to choose any other unit, no matter what trait it's got, allow it to attack, and give it 2+ power for that attack. So it's a very generic version that you can use in any deck really, and allow you to get an attack in. Now this is really good, especially since we see a lot of Fleet Lieutenant and, well, even Maz Kanata played in this respective decks, and there are even other versions. I think we've got a few. Not sure exactly how many we've got of these kind of battle tricks, but we've got a few, roughly spanning quite a few different traits. And the nice thing about them is that they allow you, when your opponent thinks, oh wait, like there's not lethal on board, they're just off a lethal, those kind of cards can come down and basically finish you off there. We've got that's why like things like Hotshot Blaster are very, very prevalent in the game, because they're just very nice action efficiency and also attack buffs that you can't really always see coming, that you got a hope opponent doesn't have. So that's the second one. And for the last one, I want proof, not leads. Now, this is once again a never aggression villainy card. So all three have been aggression villainy, so it's not too many different variants, but then being an intro battle kind of intro set is not going to have a lot of cards that are very good. It's basically introduction to the game, but then there are some effects which are great, and I want proof, not leads is a pretty good one. Because what it is a 2-cost event, so it's an event, so not a unit, so you won't be able to play anything out. You use it, it goes straight to discard, you get the effect of it, and once again, in aggression and villainy, but its effect is you draw 2 cards, then discard a card from your hand. Now this is nice because it's basically, it's not really plussing you in hand or anything, because you're drawing 2 cards, so you technically spent a card to do it, so you've drawn 2 cards, you up +1, but then you have to discard a card from your hand, so you've not gone positive, you've gone neutral, but you've basically drawn 2 new cards and filled for your deck a little bit quicker. And the nice thing about this is where it has to discard a card from your hand, it can set up the fantastic new legendary in Legend of the Force, being Anakin Skywalker, because this is a card that has 2 win blades, and it depends on what aspects you have in your discard to get them fulfilled. So if you've got a villainy aspect card in your discard, it triggers 1, and if you've got a heroism aspect in your discard, you've got trigger 2. And both effects are a -3/3 on the stats of the unit, and just on their own they're very strong, but together they're just incredibly amazing. So most leaders, they're only going to have one of those aspects used, so because you only get that aspect on your leader. So if you're playing a heroism leader, you can have heroism. If you're playing a villainy, you can have villainy. But some decks want to incorporate the other aspect in, but find a way to get into discard without having to play it, because the aspect money will kick in and make it two resources more expensive than normal is quite difficult. So having things that can discard those cards are very handy, and some leaders have that built in, some have other ways to do it. But this is a very nice card that you can do from the get-go, from turn 1, to discard a heroic card from your hand, well, draw 2 cards, then discard a heroic card from your hand, and then put a Villainy card itself and a heroism card in your discard pile, ready, so Anakin is always able to just come out and -6/6. Well, yeah, -6/6 to things. And another leader it does pretty well with is Pre-Visitor, which isn't the most popular leader, but it's a pretty nice one, where the more cards you draw, the more damage you can do, because once in the lead area, you can do you can pay 1 to do damage to your opponent's or to a unit on the board, equal to the number of cards you've drawn outside your resupply phase. So not counting the 2 cards you draw at the end of your turn, to basically then in the resupply phase, where you draw 2 from resource 1, then restand everything. It's effect that allows you to draw more cards, so you can then get Pre-Visitor effect to ping. So you can do it turn 2, turn 1, but then you won't have enough resources to then do the ping. You can do it early from turn 2 onwards, then draw 2 cards and then throw out 2 damage to your opponent. If you played things like the Pershing turn 1, you can then potentially do Pershing plus this to do 3 damage to a unit, which is pretty good. And then it adds to more cards in the hand. When he's deployed, he gets to do more damage. So I reckon this is a pretty nice card for if you play Villainy red with blue and want to get the full effect of Anakin. It's a very nice, easy way to do it. And if your leader doesn't have a easy way to do it either. And you also got Pre-Visitor as a nice card that benefits from this too. So that is the end of the video. So these are the 3 cards I filled out from Intro Battle Hoth. If you play any leaders, if you play like Grand Admiral Thrawn, if you play any red aggression leader, or play things like the red Villainy and blue combination with Anakin, or even Pre-Visitor, those are some leaders that are some leaders that's going to benefit from these cards, because they are pretty nice out of a sea of intro cards, which aren't the best, but a good way to kind of introduce people to the game. So that's it for today. So thank you for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, because we're very so close to 2,000 subs, just 1 away. So any little bit helps. And also give a comment down below if you have any comments regarding these cards, if there's any more cards in the set that could be useful that I might have missed. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.